Hi, Jeremy Cordeaux in the Court of Public Opinion. I'm just on air here to let you know that we'll be live streaming the Court of Public Opinion every Friday between 9 o'clock and 12 on jeremycordeaux.com. Please join us. We'd love to have you.
Hello, John Paul.
Leon, welcome.
Oh, no, welcome. Thanks for having me.
No, this is my house today.
Shit.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Do It for Blood.
Yeah, you do it. See how you like it.
Yes,
I'll paint a bloody word picture around you.
A Vine review and appreciation podcast. That bad idea for a podcast that everybody's been talking about. Welcome, Leon, to the. How do you transition into the next bit?
I don't know, but you did a fucking better job than I do at the actual intro, so I'm just going to kind of call it quits and get out of here.
It's a Vine review and appreciation podcast starring me.
Sorry that I've wasted everyone's time. I don't know where I go from there.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to blow up your spot.
No, it's blown. John Paul, welcome to week 2 of Rat Watch. How's the rat?
Yeah. Leon, if it's any consolation to you, I'd like to let you know that the rat still is at large. I have not been able to ascertain its exact location, its movements around the house. But shortly before pressing record on this episode, I did hear a noise.
Oh dear.
We might have to hurry through this one.
Go silent on your own. I'll be like, Jabal, help me.
I've never been so happy before that we do such short episodes.
Oh yeah, we can really get out of this if we need to. Look, I can't wait for the newspaper headline tomorrow to say rat still at large. Speaking of newspaper headlines.
Good, well done. That's why they pay you the big bucks.
That's why I usually do the intros, John Paul.
I'm so sorry.
No. I am going to paint a word picture. Today we're going to talk about the cheese of truth, or cheese of truth, or truth cheese.
Cheese of truth, yes.
Cheese of truth. Which I have no recollection of what that vine contains. I just strung some words together to see if it fit. John Paul, could you please paint me a word picture of cheese of truth?
Of this extremely nuanced vine, I certainly can. Well, I can certainly try, I suppose I should say. Our scene opens with a close-up of the front page of September 2009's issue of the Daily Mail, a popular UK newspaper. As we adjust to the visual feast this Van artist, sticking with it, has presented to us, we recognise a plastic container bearing Swiss cheese slices. A pair of hands enter the frame and extract a slice of cheese from the packet, exclaiming, "The cheese of truth!" An apparent prayer to the omnipresent cheese gods. The cheese is passionately deposited on the main text of the front page to reveal the truth according to cheese. Our Van artist reads the words visible through the eyes of the cheese. Immigrants cause cancer. And that's where the vine ends.
You really stuck into that one.
Really went after that one.
Really committed to that.
You should have seen me over here. My eyes rolled back. I started sweating.
I feel like you were just grabbing the table as you were shaking and convulsing as every time you said cheese of truth.
I was trying to position myself as the alpha just in case the rat was listening.
Yeah, you listen here, rat. I can read a headline better than anyone, you bastard.
You better believe I can paint a word picture, rat.
Come at me. Step to this. John Paul, another vine that I was not super familiar with, doesn't really appear in too many compilations.
No, it doesn't. I think it's a pretty. It might be a bit of a deep dive vine,
but obviously, the cheese gods are the only gods to pray to. Because
Oh,
two things happen in this that are impossible. Number one, the cheese lines up perfectly with any word. That's the first part. The spacing is so perfect that it gets 3 words perfectly in there.
Brilliant.
The second thing is, I was going to say the third thing. Fuck the second thing. The third thing.
Fuck the second thing. Let's go to the third thing.
I can't even get it straight anymore. Do we usually swear this much? The second thing
Probably.
is that it makes, like, it's a sentence. I was going to say it makes sense. It does not make sense that immigrants cause cancer.
It's a fact.
It is a sentence that reads in a manner that is understandable.
Yes, it is almost a what one could say is a complete sentence.
Yes, that would be the word I was searching for. Not a truthful sentence, but a sentence that is readable.
Oh no, just a mosquito. It's okay. Wasn't the rat?
Oh, this has made the podcast way more exciting. I thought you were
Wasn't the rat?
I thought you were jumping away from me saying the word readable, and I was like, well, I found his trigger.
No, it's okay. It was actually a moth. It was a moth.
Oh, the moth's a rat.
Brushed against my leg.
It seems to be. First it was a mosquito, now it's a moth. Next it'll be a rat riding a moth. Jump on before the rat completely devours you. So yeah, what are your other thoughts on this Vine?
What I did wanted to say to your thought, Leon, is while it is an undeniable fact that immigrants seem to cause cancer.
Yeah, again,
no,
hot water.
I'm joking. I did I did a little bit of research, and what I find actually quite poetic about this Vine is that the holes that are found in Swiss cheese are actually called eyes. Isn't that interesting?
Oh,
and cheese without holes in it are blind.
Oh dear.
So this, through the eyes of the cheese, it really is, the cheese is seeing these words. I also like it because I just think it's a fun activity. I think we talked about, I called you up and thought we should do this Vine, and then realized that, and I was going to send you a picture of sort of the results I got, but realized I don't have a newspaper and I don't have Swiss cheese.
No, throwing Swiss cheese at my laptop does not seem great. We could bite holes in cheese, make our own Swiss cheese.
But I still don't have a newspaper.
No, just throw it at your laptop. Throw it on your phone.
Textbook? I could do a textbook.
That could be fun.
That could be fun.
The mitochondria. Is that the one that everyone always talks about? Like what is it? The mitochondria is the heart of the cell or some crap like that.
Yes.
I think so.
Okay.
Let's just pretend that a lot of the conversation we had didn't happen just then, because I did want to make a joke, but then we kept going because you didn't shut up for a bit.
Let's jump back to it.
When you said the cheese without holes in it is blind, I was going to say, in the book of cheese, the cheese god says, I was blind and now I cheese, instead of see. I don't know if you find that funny or if you find it funny that I bothered to tell that story.
Going back to that was so fucking worth it, Leon.
To me that I got to share that with the world.
That was... yes, I'm so glad.
I'll be making some cheese-related content later in the month.
Yeah, absolutely.
Blind. If anyone didn't catch that, blind, but now I cheese. I do apologize for wasting
Knocked
everyone's
that one
time.
out of the park. Don't you dare apologize for that.
You appreciate your skills.
How dare you?
Oh, that's about all the creative energy I've got to expend.
That's it. Leon is spent.
Jump on. Yes.
Oh, well, I also want to do this Vine because I just thought it'd be a fun activity for our listeners. Feel free to get a newspaper, get a bit of Swiss cheese that has eyes and is not blind. And please refer to Leon's funny Bible joke. And passionately deposit some Swiss cheese on the main text of the front page of your newspaper. And, let us know. Let us know what other facts and, government standpoints towards immigrants you might find in there.
I do not take issue necessarily. I'm interested in your turn of phrase of passionately deposits for throw. Because
Well, I feel like because he didn't throw. He never sort of let go of the cheese, Leon. He placed it.
Did he?
But he placed it passionately.
He passionately did let the cheese slap across the page.
He passionately deposited the cheese. To deposit is to place something.
Slap.
It is a synonym.
Slap passionately. Slap passionately? Slap.
Slapassionately.
That sounds like a cocktail.
This is fast turning into a portmanteau podcast.
Yeah, it's called
I'm okay with it.
Portmanteau cast.
Yes.
I thought I had something better for that.
You
really
couldn't.
did.
You couldn't possibly come up with anything after you were blind and then you cheesed.
Oh, blind and cheese. When you say blind and then, you've got to say blind and then I cheesed. Because blind and then I cheesed is different. I was blind and then I cheesed.
That means something else.
Yeah, I will be starting up a rival beef and dairy network podcast called Blind and Now I Cheese.
And then cheesed, yeah.
Not cheesed, John Paul. We've just said that. Not cheesed. That is the X-rated version.
Given the creative juices that are flowing in this podcast, I'm sure they're very threatened.
Yeah, come at me, Ben Partridge.
Last
2 episodes I've tried to get people to come at me. I think I'm in an aggressive mood.
Well, it's the new aggressive format of this show where each week we call out a group of listeners and we just go after them.
Yeah, this week it was also the minority because we hit the immigrants too.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, this is it's funny because like it's
finish your thought. Let me just get the delete button ready.
Yeah, let's just quickly mark this bit as a possible edit.
No, you go ahead as if you're going to.
It's funny because what I like about it is that the front page has a what was his name? David Cameron, I want to say, was a former Prime Minister of the UK,
sure.
And was like a government official, and then to get that sort of response from the cheese gods, on a page that displays a government official, I think is quite, ironic because it's, around the world something we see governments essentially saying this sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah, at this current
which
point.
is rather troubling. But particularly, I think, as Australians, we can say it's something that people in Australia say some form of quite a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Which is deeply saddening. But I think it's funny, there are a lot of little subtleties to this vine that I think are clever. The fact that it's a front page that displays a former prime minister of a country, and then to get that sort of rhetoric in there is clever.
Clever is definitely the word for it, I think.
Which is the perfect way to describe cheese gods.
Oh, yeah.
They're omnipresent. They're very clever.
Clever. Omnipresence. You're clever, aren't you?
Yeah, clever you, omnipresent cheese god.
On a scale of 1 to Vine, John Paul, Vine being the equivalent of a cheese god and 1 being the equivalent of me going all the way back just to say my silly cheese pun, where would you rate?
Well, Leon, quite frankly, that going back to retell that joke made my day.
Oh,
so if we're using that as the scale, it's going to
day.
be about a 1. But look, it's definitely a 9 out of Vine.
Oh, yeah.
And I know I can already hear the gasps of people listening to this podcast as I say that. But it's a 9. It's cleverly done. And I think there are actually some other ones of this sort of cheese of truth that I haven't looked at.
We'll cover them in other episodes.
Yeah, we'll cover them further down. I'm hoping that they're not going to be too disagreeable because I did see a troubling thumbnail of one of them, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Quite politically charged. The Vine itself, I'd give like a 7 or an 8, but the quality content that I have come up with based on this Vine is a 10 out of 10 for sure. Blind and Now I Cheese. Keep saying it until people make it happen.
Absolutely.
But what a Vine. As always, I'd like to thank Simon Blackburn for our wonderful cover art and Curtis Fernance for our techno theme music. That's techno as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
So thanks.
That gets the kids bopping down at the local discotheque.
Popping and locking. And thanks to Auscast Network for having us on here to talk about cheese.
Talk about cheese and immigrants. It's,
And
It's just what we do.
as we do now on the weekly podcast, John Paul, before we go, any sign of the rat?
No sign yet, Leon. No spikes in the waves on my audio recording device.
Good.
But I'm going to find that rat, and we're going to have some words about whose house this is.
Not if he finds you first. Ooh.
Oh, Christ.
I don't want to be in this house anymore. All right, I am sweaty, so I think that's a good sign to leave. It's hot in here.
Leon, that's quite frankly the only reason to leave somewhere.
Now, as always, wherever you're blind, wherever you cheese...
Just cheese it for the vine. Oh, no.
What have we done?
Oh, God.
End it here. It'll be better this way.
Goodbye.
Hi, Jeremy Cordeaux in the Court of Public Opinion. I'm just on air here to let you know that we'll be live streaming the Court of Public Opinion every Friday between 9 o'clock and 12 on jeremycordeaux.com. Please join us. We'd love to have you.